What's up, YouTubers? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Follow the Money. Today, we are going to talk about something very exciting for 2021, and it's a part of the overall new Biden Rescue America stimulus package that is now going through Senate and Congress to be passed very shortly. It's a part of the new $1,400 direct payment stimulus checks. It's awesome for middle to low income families with children. We're going to talk about the tax credit for children 17 and younger, okay? It used to be 16 and younger, I believe. They've upped it to 17, which is great because high school students still are dependent on their parents and live under their parents' roof, and parents need that extra money. I don't know about you guys, but if you know anybody or yourself, if you have kids in high school, I mean, it's very, very expensive. They're involved in more extracurricular activities, their clothes, shoes, the things they need to take care of themselves. Their entertainment costs a lot more when they get older. So this is a huge relief for parents with kids 17 years of age living in the house. Okay, so the tax credit is going to go up from $2,000 to up to $3,600. Okay, let's get into the details of the 2021 new child tax credit. All right. So basically, President Biden plans to extend the child tax credit for families. Obviously, the child tax credit already exists, but we're just going to make it better this year, thanks to Biden's administration. So President Joe Biden has proposed temporary changes to the child tax credit as part of a larger COVID-19 relief stimulus package. If the package passes in Congress, guys, Biden's COVID-19 plan will temporarily increase the maximum child credit from $2,000 to $3,000 for each child age 17 and under, and up to $3,600 for children under age 6. We all know that children under age 6 require child care most of the time, and child care is very expensive. Also, Biden's plan would make the credit fully refundable for one whole year. Right now, the credit is only partially refundable. So he's even changing the terms along with increasing the amount of the child tax credit. Great news. So the Biden administration's intent with this expansion is just to help low-income families. According to Biden's Rescue America plan, his fact sheet states that 27 million children live in families with households incomes low enough that they didn't qualify for the full value of a tax credit. And the measure would give these children and their families additional needed resources. It would help an additional 27 million families, and that's awesome. All right, so the Washington Post reported that senior Democratic lawmakers are drafting legislation to allow the IRS to make direct payments to families who qualify for the child tax credit. So instead of getting a big fat refund with that $3,000 or $3,600 with your tax return, you'd actually get direct monthly payments. So this is how this works, guys. Families would receive a monthly payment of $300 for each child under the age of 6 and $250 for each child age 6 to 17. This would be, instead of the lump sum refund that taxpayers are claiming, this credit would typically get. So you wouldn't get that big lump sum. You just get that $250 or $300 a month, depending on your child's age. So what is the child tax credit? What is that? Okay, that's been around for some time, but Biden just wants to up the ante to make it more beneficial for more families in America. So what is the child tax credit? Similar to other credits when you file your taxes, the child tax credit lowers the amount you owe in taxes. The tax credit is refundable if you don't owe any taxes, which means you can claim the tax credit as a refund. But unlike other credits, the Internal Revenue Service limits the refundable amount partially up to $1,400 for each child. This is known as the additional child tax credit. So by providing a refundable tax credit for families with children, the CTC provides both a lower tax liability for those households with higher incomes and an additional source of income during the tax season for lower income households. So a refundable credit allows you to receive a direct payment from the IRS and can increase an existing tax refund. So what your children qualify for with the tax credit. So let's see. A qualifying child is someone who can be claimed as a dependent and meets the following criteria. So if a child has a valid social security number, they're under the age of 17. So your child must be under the age 17 by December 31st of the tax year. So this means if your kid turns 17 on the last day of the year, he or she will not qualify for the child tax credit. Okay. They have to be a U.S. citizen or are U.S. nationals or residents or aliens. So they have to have some kind of legal status, whether that's a U.S. national, a resident, or a U.S. alien, okay, or a citizen. So a U.S. national is born in an American Samoa in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, or someone born outside of the U.S. or two U.S. national parents. A permanent resident alien is an immigrant or alien admitted to the U.S. Okay, so they just have to be legally admitted, obviously. Your child, also to qualify for this tax credit, your child did not provide more than half of their own support. So if you have a 17-year-old working full-time and they claim themselves on their taxes, obviously you can't claim them because they claim themselves as independent. Because they've supported themselves either fully or halfway. They are not eligible for you to receive the $3,000 credit. So your child must not provide more than half of his or her support, which includes lodging, food, utilities, repairs, clothing, education, healthcare, and other costs. Your child must live with you for half of the year. So if you have half custody and your ex-husband has half custody, that works too, as long as they're not taking care of themselves financially. You can prove this through a copy of a lease or school records. However, there are some exceptions. Okay. Your child attended school or served in the military away from home is one exception. Another exception is your child was away due to vacation, medical care, or business, or your child was in a juvenile facility detention home. Last but not least, you are divorced or separated from your spouse and your child was away from the home. So those are some exceptions to that rule if any of those circumstances apply to you. So also for your child to qualify, they must be related to you or you're dependent to qualify. So let's say my sister passed away or something and I took her kid and the kid lives with me, legally goes to school in my neighborhood, and obviously she's related to me. She's my niece. So that way she would be an eligible dependent for me to receive the $3,000 tax credit. So the relationships that meet the requirements are son, daughter, stepchild, eligible foster child, adopted child, sibling, step of half sibling, or a descendant of any of them. Okay, so it could be grandkids too. So step kids are definitely part of this. That's really, really good to know. So the last requirement that your child must meet is they didn't file a joint return to obtain a refund. So if your child did not file a married or single filing joint tax return for the year. However, if they did file a joint return, it was to claim a refund of federal estimated taxes paid or withheld during the year. So if your child doesn't meet the criteria, they may be eligible for the other dependent child tax. Although this credit isn't as generous as the one that Biden is proposing for $3,000, the ODC tax credit, which is the other credit, is only worth up to $500 for other dependents who do not qualify for the child tax credit. So, for example, if your son is over 17 and is not eligible for the child tax credit, he would be eligible for the $500 credit, the other tax credit, okay? So a person qualifies for the $500 tax credit if he or she is your dependent, is a U.S. citizen, U.S. national, or resident. In addition, the person must have a social security number, individual identification taxpayer number, or adoption identification number. So let's see here. What are the income requirements for the child tax credit? This is the most important question because this is going to tell you right off the jump, if you're even eligible to receive the $3,000 tax credit. So your income will determine whether you qualify for some or all or none of the child tax credit. For starters, if you earn less than $2,500 for the year, you are not eligible to claim the child tax credit. So if you earned less than $2,500, okay, which I hope all of you have made more money than that last year, you are not eligible. For a single taxpayer, your modified adjusted gross income must not exceed $200,000. And for married couples filing jointly, it must not exceed $400,000 to qualify for this tax credit. Okay. So if you're married, you can't make more than $400,000. If you're single, you can't make more than $200,000. Your modified adjusted gross income is a gauge the IRS uses to determine whether you are eligible for some credits and deductions. It is your income minus deductions, then some income and deductions are added back. So it kind of gets complicated after that. But those are the income thresholds, and I think that those income thresholds are pretty generous. $200,000 for a single person. I mean, that's nice. If your adjusted gross income exceeds those thresholds, your child tax credit amount is reduced by 5% for each $1,000 above the threshold. So, for example, guys, if you are a single taxpayer and your adjusted gross income is $225,000, you'll receive a total tax credit of $750 because you're $25,000 over the $200,000 income level that's required for the program, so you're only going to get a partial refund. So how to claim the child tax credit on your tax return. So you're excited, you meet all the qualifications, and you definitely want to get this tax credit, right? So how do you go about filing or choosing that option on your 2020 tax return? So you can claim the child tax credit on your federal income tax return on Form 1040, Form 1040 SR, or Form 1040 NR. You will need to include the name and social security number for each qualifying kid on your tax return. You can use the child tax credit and credit for other dependents worksheets to determine your credit amount, but do not be alarmed if you do not know how to complete the form. Online tax software programs like TurboTax and H&R Block will help guide you through that form. So if you are qualified to file Form 8862, if the IRS denied or reduced the child tax credit after 2015 for any reason besides a mathematical or clerical error, for more information on how to complete the worksheet, review IRS Publication 972. I have Form 8862 and IRS Publication 972 links in the description to the IRS website to obtain those forms if applicable. So guys, that's pretty much it. That's all the requirements to get the $3,000 or $3,600 child tax credit for 2021. Again, it's going to be gradual payments of either $250 or $300 a month per child. That is very interesting to see how that pans out. I never knew that they would break it down monthly like that. It's usually always in a lump sum during the tax refund. This is something new, and this might be good, you guys. I mean, this might be good. Although I'm more of a give me it all to me in a lump sum type of person, I do respect their effort in trying to provide additional income and resources for struggling families in America. So guys, if you like the video, please click the thumbs up button. If you want to stay in the know and continuously get these stimulus check updates and other updates regarding money, how it affects your pockets, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much. Until next time. Bye.